Hello, welcome to this video. This video is going to be called something like I had a copyright strike and this is what I learned. Because yesterday I had a copyright strike and this is what I learned, right? So I'm going to go through that and give you my thoughts. I haven't organised my thoughts. As you know, I never organise my thoughts. I don't. So yesterday was the Black Sabbath day, wasn't it? Up in Birmingham, they're playing. I decided to live stream the whole day. I broke it into 3 live streams. The first one starting at 3 o'clock. And I was really shocked, around about 32,000 people in that live stream. Then I shut that one down and I opened it back up. Brummy Dave did that one. And we only had about 6,000, but I hadn't put up any notices for that one. So then I put up another one that was going to cover the Metallica, Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath, the meat and potatoes of the day. And we started up, and there was around about 25,000 people had gone in that stream. Concurrently, it was around about 800 to 1,000 all at the same time. So we sat there chatting away. It was absolutely fantastic. I loved it so much. Everyone seemed to like it. We were having a laugh, you know. And so people do roughly where we were on the gig. On the third one, I got my laptop and a little screen I positioned in the background, no sound, so you could see a little thing, so you could sort of see who was on and I could refer to it and carry on. But most people were watching the live stream themselves. This went on for about an hour and a half and then suddenly it all stopped. I didn't know what was going on. Eventually I shut it down. I got out, the video wasn't there, and I had a message from YouTube saying that I'd had a copyright strike. It said I had to go to copyright school until I could do anything really. Once I got to copyright strike, that would mean that I've got my first copyright strike. And I'm not too sure how this works, but reading what it said, I think that copyright strike, like points on your license here in the UK when you've done speeding, in October, that strike will go. So I don't think it stays there forever, but it will go. But up until that point, I don't want to get any more, because if I get 2 more, there's no more Andy Edwards on YouTube. And I can't even go up and set a new channel up. I just can't do it. You're gone, which is absolutely terrifying. I can't believe it. Also, the live stream, which I really enjoyed doing, and all the way I thought next week we'll do another one of these. It'll be really good. Now I know how it works. I know what I can do in it. And I'm banned for that for 7 days. So hopefully it'll all be okay. I'm now going to give you my thoughts on this. Right, so let's start at the beginning, okay? When you're a YouTuber, you make a video. And I'm a music YouTuber, so I make music videos. If I was to go and grab a bit of film, right, like a bit of Star Wars or something like that, on the whole, nothing happens, unless it's like hours of it. But on the whole, you can put up bits of film. That's why there are so many YouTubes looking at Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter, because they can put up all these bits of film and you can get away. Too much and they're going to do something about it. If you put music up, however, even a few seconds of it, that gets flagged. Now, what happens when it gets flagged is it says, you have used this, and then it will say, the video will not be shown in these territories, might say that, or it might say it's not going to affect the visibility of this video, but what it is going to do is the person who wrote that song is now going to have the entirety of the income made from that video. Now, the way I make my living here is my videos aren't huge viewers, but there's a lot of them. That's why I do so many a week, and they all make a little bit of money. And adding all that up through the week, and then all the videos that I've done in the past, they're all making even tinier bits of money. And that just about keeps me going. I've got my Patreon as well, which also, you know, people are signed up to that. And this is basically how I make a living. I'm 57 years old. I reached a time in my life where I thought I was in a crisis. I thought that was it. I couldn't be a professional drummer. I was too old. They didn't want me in education, it seemed, because I had old-fashioned ideas about creativity and stuff like that. And I went through a bit of a crisis as I was setting this channel up. And this channel came along and saved the day. And now me and my family can just about get by on the money that I'm making from this YouTube. So it's absolutely terrifying. You know, my point being here, there are people whose livelihoods rest on doing this. It's not just a bit of fun. It's people's jobs, right? So if I put, I'm talking about, say, a Magma album, or I was talking about, say, something by Gentle Giant. if I was to play the music for it, I know that the people here would see that video, and I know for a fact you would get 20 to 30 people going, oh, I really like that, I might go and buy the album. I know this because where we have been able to do that's been the sort of numbers. 20 to 30 in terms of gross profits for the artists could be 300 quid in CD sales. Plus, those people will then buy into it. They might then go in to buy a lot more albums. So it's always seemed counterintuitive that artists are claiming copyright on something like that. If I just put the whole track up and I'm making money out of it, fair enough. But where someone's trying to sell it, someone's trying to promote it and say how great it is, that's bonkers. Now, a lot of the more underground modern artists that are out there, they're sending me albums all the time, and they want me to push them on the thing. Now, the only real way I could do that is by playing the music. That may sell the album. Now, if I did those videos all the time, it would destroy the channel because nobody wants to see any videos about new music. So I'm not inclined to do that, but I want to help the artists out. But they've gone and done it the right way. So they have gone and put an album out. They've gone copyrighted all the songs. So as soon as you put that thing up that you're trying to help them with, they're grabbing the copyright for it. And so you are literally working for nothing on a video that will make you less money, but now it's going to make you no money. This is counterintuitive, and I believe it's killing the industry. The industry has changed, and the only people that are benefiting from these old copyright laws, I'm afraid, are the people that have a massive legacy and have sold millions and are millionaires already. People like Black Sabbath, people like Sharon Osbourne, and those types, right? But because I dealt with copyright for so many years now, over 1,000 videos, and I'd seen all the advice, every time I did something that was a little bit pushing the envelope, they came back and told me about it. So I thought having a little screen in the background, no sound, right, just the images, right, I thought they're not going to worry about that. And I don't think YouTube would have worried about it. I don't think their AI would have flagged it. The reason I had a copyright strike is because Mercury Studios, or whatever it is that was running that live stream, was actively out shutting other people down. Now, I sat there thinking, all I'm doing is offering an extra service, and I have my following, and you could tell by the conversation that some of the people, and we were talking over the whole day up until it went down, around about 100,000 people. Now, if they had sent me a message saying all these videos will be demonetized, well, I didn't make any money on those videos yesterday. The only money I made was from the kind people that were putting in payments in the chat, which people did for about half an hour until I told them to stop because I felt guilty about it. I did feel guilty about it because we were having such fun. And I thought, I'm having fun. We're watching Sabbath. Everyone's fine. Stop putting your money in. Let's just talk, It was nice to get my ticket paid. And I believe I've still got that money. I hope Black Sabbath haven't got that. But if Black Sabbath had grabbed the copyright for the live streams, right, I would not have had a problem with that at all. But what they did, they've done a copyright strike. And a copyright strike it feels like a punishment. It feels like I have done something wrong. Like I've driven over the speed limit, right? And I know that if I was to contest this copyright, they would say, well, you showed it, right? Now, the truth is, was I benefiting from the fact that the live stream was about the Black Sabbath concert? Or was I benefiting from the actual fact that I've been on YouTube for a while, I've got a bit of a following, and suddenly for the first time, I was doing a live stream? I think it was the latter. I don't think Black Sabbath was benefiting because it shocked me when I went back, because I know YouTube, and I went back into it and I looked at it all, and I thought people had come in there to chat to me, and because I'm a bit silly, and because I was making them laugh and they were making me laugh, and I enjoyed it, and I sat there reading all the comments, and it was just a joy, and I thought, I could have done this without Black Sabbath. In fact, Black Sabbath was getting in the way. In fact, that screen at the back was getting in the way. I think I would have done better to have done, which I could do, one of my top 10s, but with the audience there. And I go, you know how I forget stuff? They would help me out, because when I forgot something, I could say, what's the name of so-and-so? All this was great. And what annoys me is all the live streams were great. The first one's great. The Brummy Dave one's great, because I did that one in the middle. The last one was just, would have been a great video. It would have augmented Black Sabbath's legacy, which for me was incredibly positive. This was so positive, right? The week before, I'd done a critique of Glastonbury, and Glastonbury got on my nerves. Now, I tried to put into a reasonable argument why it got on my nerves, and then it becomes an argument of whether you're pro-Palestinian or pro-Israeli. And I'll say here now, I think what Israel's doing in Palestine is absolutely disgusting. It's on a par with some of the great war crimes of history. That's what I believe, right? But there's no nuance. And there's no nuance around Glastonbury. It's captured. It's ideological. It's a certain group of people virtue signaling what they want. And if it had been the other end, a bunch of right-wingers, it would have been them virtue signaling what they want. I criticise the fact that's going on, and then suddenly this audience, not you lot, not the people who like my channel, but the other ones, right, are in there trying to have a fight. Now, I mention this because another thing I learnt yesterday is when you set a live stream up, you could have just subscribers commenting or everybody. And I forgot to tick the box that subscribers would be commenting on the Brummy Dave one. I'm glad it was the Brummy Dave one, because people started to get in and troll. One person had set up a profile that was called the Andy Edwards Rick Beato. And they just came in and were just talking politics. Of course, it was Brummy Dave. He don't care about politics. So he just besmirched their, manhood, basically. That's how he dealt with that. Which was quite funny, and I enjoyed that. But I thought, here we are, here's the great hoi polloi now, and we're getting all these negative comments. Not from my subscribers. Now, I want you to park that as an idea. My subscribers weren't like that, but it was just them. We had basically a big YouTube loving, and I'm annoyed that that's not up on the internet. I'm annoyed that they took, how dare YouTube take it down? How dare YouTube take it down? It's not right. And I don't think this copyright strike, what I would do? I hate to say it. I'd scrap copyrights. I'd scrap it. And I'd let musicians make their money by actually monetizing what they do, like I have done with my YouTube. And I would love to come on and tell musicians how they can do it. And if you did it right, you can start to make some money. Now, I've played on albums, and I get PPL payments, which are performance payments. And every time that passes £5, I get a payment. I basically get a payment about every 2 years. When I played in the prog bands, those bands look after the copyright themselves, and they collect that themselves through a number of agencies. And I get a payout from that, which I'm quite happy with. But I could do without that, because it's nowhere near what a musician could do by having their own Patreon, having their own Bandcamp, working with people online, working with influencers like myself, and us being able to put a proper product where everybody gets paid. And I get paid for doing the video for them, and they get paid because people start either becoming a Patreon or buying their CD. And the CD should come after the Patreon. Creative musicians, when we talk about musicians at the bottom of the pile, those people, honestly, if you scrap copyright and you can start to make your money by reaching your target audience, which is now very small, you only need a small audience out there online, because you can reach them all in the whole world to make your money. So I want you to think about that and how important that is. Because basically, looking at this copyright strike, miffed as I am, the point of this video is to make the point that we should scrap copyright. It's just benefiting the super rich musician types. Now, Glastonbury was all about that. It's all political. It's all about an elite. It's all virtue signaling. It's all a whole bunch of stuff. And everything around that was toxic. Everything. Everything the way it was portrayed afterwards, because you're in the mainstream media. Now, the thing about that Black Sabbath concert is there was no bloody Palestinian flags flying. There was no bloody Israeli flags flying. There was no pride flags flying. There was no flags flying. Everybody in that room was there because they loved Black Sabbath. And they'd gone to show their loves and salute the band as they went on their merry way. Ozzy Osbourne, who's been pretty ill, was going to sit on stage in his throne, and we were all going to go, not worthy, right? That is what we were there to do. Plus, the biggest bands in the world, the multi-millionaires, had paid out of their own pocket to travel over and get themselves a hotel in Birmingham and go down and play Metallica, Anthrax, Slayer, you know, Steven Tyler, Rod Wood, Nuno Bettencourt, Tom Morello, Tool. It just went on and on. A lineup that was 100 times better than Glastonbury. And for me, there was so much musical treats, whether it was Jack Black coming up and doing, was it Mr. Crowley, with a bunch of kids like School of Rock, or Steven Tyler getting on stage with Chad Smith, Nuno Bettencourt, Tom Morello, and doing Walk This Way. All of it was amazing. Whether it was Gojira with their like mathematical, precise, you know, insane metal, or whether it was seeing Bill Ward on stage shirtless, looking like some bloody gargoyle that, you know, they would have had on stage as a prop, banging out, and seeing the band that started it all off. And Phil Anselmo summed it up for me when he walked up quietly to the front of the stage, quietly in front of 50,000 people, and he went, if it wasn't for this band, I would not be here, and all our lives would be different right now. And I went, whoa. Then Sabbath get up, Ozzy gets up, right? And Ozzy is so emotionally involved in this. This is the end for him. It's the end. He's back on stage in front of the people he loved. And what I felt from Sabbath is this wasn't coming for them to salute us. This was them, I got that, oh, bugger that up now. This wasn't us coming to salute them. This was them coming to salute us. And all Ozzy ever said through that was, we love you. I love you. We love you. And as he was saying it, people, great big hulky metal blokes, were going, we love you, Ozzy. We love you. And Metallica came out. We love you. We love you. Love, love, love. They look like the Prince of Darkness. People don't get it. The bloody religious right don't like them. The lefties don't like them because they politically incorrect metal and it's sexist or whatever it is. Whatever reason, this genre collected all the outsiders, all the dross, all the people, and they stand there. And I felt this from heavy metal since 1980. I've felt it since 1980. It was a collective. Right now, Friday before, Oasis are on. And this is another organic thing. This isn't bloody Glastonbury or any of that rubbish. This is Oasis. And I know half of you don't like Oasis. But there they got up on stage, they played, and Noel came out. And I had the same feeling, but it was slightly different because with Oasis, I was aware that 30 years ago, when they were the biggest thing, working class, normal people, that they couldn't control what they said, they couldn't control what they did, that took drugs, that did bad stuff and all that stuff. They were naughty people, normal working class people that represented normal people, were the pop stars. Whether it be Oasis or whether it be Ozzy Osbourne. And Ozzy Osbourne said at one point, he goes, I thank you all for giving me the lifestyle I've had. Metallica could have said that. Anthrax could have said that. And we thank them all for giving us our lifestyle. Music is made out of love, right? And the trouble is, as it got commodified, which started in the 1960s, as soon as it was created, as soon as you had rock music and albums and tours, but it was chaotic, and slowly as time went on, every decade it got more commodified. And then they started to see the loopholes. And at some point in the 90s, they went, we can't have normal people saying normal things. We need to control the narrative. That's what you see in Glastonbury, is them controlling the narrative. That's what I felt yesterday with the copyright strike. I felt they're trying to control what I'm saying and what I'm doing, and me being creative. Now, some of you go, yeah, but why should you benefit from them? That it's their music. That's true. But the thing is, when I watched it, I saw them playing those songs, and I thought, those songs don't belong to Black Sabbath. They belong to us. The week before, I'd been sat on stage with Sting, hearing a whole bunch of other songs that have created the soundtrack to my life. You know, and as Sting's out there playing Driven to Tears, I'm sat there going, he doesn't own these songs. They do. We do. We all own these songs. How about we have a moral and ethical change in the arts where the artist creates the stuff, they get rewarded for doing it. You get paid for doing it. And when you write a song, you write that song and you put it out there. But once you put it out there, you lose it. Because if you're Marilyn Monroe and you've got that face and you've got that image, everyone's making money out of her. That's not copyrightable. It's gone. This is what creative people do. They do it out of love. I felt this when I was a professional musician. I thought, I'm not getting paid for playing the music. I'm not getting paid for being on stage. I'm getting paid for getting in a car, driving across the country, carting my 2,000 quid kit in, setting it up, right? Trying to get something to eat, putting it all back, and then driving home and going to bed at 3 o'clock. It's the other stuff we're getting paid for. And if you're a creative musician, it's the other stuff that you should be getting paid for. And the internet allows you to talk to the people and for you to earn something, not because you're getting this dodgy copyright thing and somebody thinks they're supporting one artist, but really they're supporting somebody else. They don't like that person. All that stuff that copyright does, right? What happens is like when I was in that second live stream and I started joking with them and I said something like, you know what I'm like? I said, I've paid 25 quid to watch this bloody Sabbath ticket. We're not even watching it. You know, I've just got it stuck up in the background. I'm just chatting to you guys. And I said, and none of you have bothered to do a payment. I said, what's this down the bottom? I said, that dollar sign, click that and you get a payment. No one's bothered to do it. How am I going to get my 25 quid back? Right? Now, that's a joke. But it was actually pointing at the very mechanism in which I believe artists should now get paid. They have their audience like Sabbath, and you could directly talk to them and you can show them the love you have for them. And I have a massive love for the people who follow this channel, the subscribers, not the hoi polloi, right? The subscribers. And when someone subscribes to this channel, they basically are paying me with their subscription. They're paying me by watching the channel. You're all helping me, right? And I'm going to try and give that back as much as I possibly can. And I'm going to try and articulate. My job is to sit here and articulate the fact that music is made out of love. And in the old days, the music business made money out of copyright. All that mechanism, copyright, and all the rest of it. You've got to understand, I've taught copyright. Copyright school. I had to go to copyright school before I could do anything else. You had to watch a video and then answer the questions. I didn't watch the video. I just answered the questions because I knew the answers. I knew I was breaching copyright. I thought I'd get away with it, right? A couple of days ago, I needed to pull the car over. So I pulled the car over. We had to adjust the chair that we had a little toddler in. So I pulled it onto this carpet, adjusted the chair, got the chair, and then drove off. Didn't buy a ticket because I just used the place to park my car. I've got a parking fine, right? All these things, they're rob dogs. They're rob dogs. You feel like this company has got this huge car park and the people who own it just sit there while people drive in, park up and they go up. And if it's 50 pence, fine, but it's not. It's like 3 quid and that just generates money all day long, right? Copyright just generates money all day long, which is fine. That's the business. But new artists now are being cut out. You wouldn't get an Oasis. You would not get a Black Sabbath. And the reason why we're all sitting there listening to bloody heavy metal is because some working class, it's not even about working class. You could be middle class, but you're just a normal person. That's the point. It's the creative industries need to be able to allow normal people to come into the situation and make music from their heart, not be all constrained by all these things that you can and can't do. And I want to do this here. Well, I'll tell you something. For the next, from now till October, you won't see a speck of any video, any music by anybody else but me. The only stuff you're ever going to see on this channel for the next 3 or 4 months is just me. That's it. If you don't like it, you're going to have to lump it. Thank God I've set all this up and I'd already artistically got to the creative conclusion that this, I need to go back to just doing what this is. And it's talking about music. But just imagine, you know, when I go over here like this and we start to go through and we start to pick up an album that's quite rare, like this one here, right? So say I'm talking about Joe Farrell Quartet's album from 1970, which got incredible on Chick Corea, Jack DeJohnette, Dave Holland, John McLaughlin. Now, some John McLaughlin fans or Chick Corea fans are like, I've never really heard that album. I wonder what it's like. Imagine if I could play that to you now. Joe Farrell died in 1986. He had a rare form of cancer, I believe, and he died pretty young. His family now will be receiving the money off any sales, right? And he did some incredible albums in the 70s, including this one, but I can't play it yet. Because some company will come and grab it. It's ridiculous. Now, I'll tell you something else about copyright. Artists make music. It's copyrighted. Then they die. Now, it takes a long time for copyright to run out. Okay? All Quiet on the Western Front, which was written in 1929, the film version was 1930, next year will go out of copyright. So I will be able to put up the whole film of All Quiet on the Western Front, which is a great film, early silent film. I could put it up on my channel, no one can do anything, because the copyright's run out. But artists die before the copyright comes out. And if you've got a good company, they can re-copyright it and they can own it. This is why artists are now selling off for millions their catalogue, because they'll be dead in 10 years. But the companies know that they're going to be able to make money out of that stuff for the next 100 years. That's the way they are thinking. And that's the way they are going to channel art at us now. Now, they weren't doing that in 1960, but that's how they're thinking now. We own the Beatles. We've got Michael Jackson. We've got Elton John. We've got Pink Floyd, right? And people will get a payoff. There will be families that will go into the future, and in 100, 200 years' time, they won't quite understand why their kids don't have to work, because they'll be sat on this fortune. A little bit like these families in this country that sit in big stately homes with a ton of land, and they can't work out the fact that their great-great-grandfather was slave traders or something, you know, and all this stuff. And they're sat there going, yeah, we are very posh though, aren't we? And really, you know, we have to look down on everybody. And all this type of stuff. And people who think I'm right-wing, you're not at all. Right? I don't mind this. I don't mind the well-off. I don't mind the connected. I don't mind all the rich, you know, rock stars playing all their songs in front of everybody. I actually don't mind that. But we should at least be able to call it what it is and not dance around it. Right? I don't want to take any of their money away, but I do, because I want to get rid of copyright. I do now, because I don't feel that what happened yesterday was right in my heart. I don't feel it was right, okay? I just don't feel it was right. And I'm aware that somebody somewhere, I believe, was looking at it, and they looked at what was going on, and they saw that little picture in the background, and they saw us having a laugh, and they saw all the people talking about it, and they saw people going, yeah, I'm watching it now. Oh my God, isn't so-and-so great? Oh, isn't that cool? That's cool. I'm not too sure about this. And they saw that numbers, and they didn't think, all those people are watching it, they're loving it, and this is adding to it. Isn't this wonderful that we're doing this gig and it's out there going into the world, and it's creating this even bigger thing going on around it? They didn't think like that. They saw the numbers and they went, shut him down. They're not benefiting from it. Now, I've got to be honest, whilst this is going on, people are just putting up, and it's not official, they're just putting up video of the concert. So aren't they taking those down? And what it is, they're flagging it not based upon... it's because of it's got to be because of the interaction. Now, the interaction wasn't down to them, that was down to me. And so I feel like being robbed, but on YouTube, there is no way of safeguarding this. Think about this now. I have so many subscribers. When I put a video up, if my video just appeared in the stream of all 56,000 subscribers, I would do better than having YouTube going, what should we do today? I can't really be asked. And my biggest worry is because I've had a copyright strike, YouTube sort of go, yeah, let's just tamper him down. In fact, take him out. We'll just get the algorithm to take him away. If they are trying to play to the big companies and having an algorithm that says when someone has a copyright strike, we're going to shut them down. Now, that is not in their interest, because that's also going to stop the growth. YouTube worked because, you know, in the early stages, if people made a great video, people watched it, they got lots of views, they became really rich, right? If you strangle that, so the only people that are allowed to make the money are the big companies. If you're going to have the big companies taking copyright about all the little users, what you're going to have is they're going to go, well, it's not bloody worth it, is it? It's not worth doing this. And what YouTube will end up is just, it'll be them controlling it. They will be controlling the narrative. And the trouble with the powers that be is they want to control the narrative. They wanted to control the narrative when it was Oasis going out and getting stoned and smashing up bars and being pains in the arse and saying things they didn't like, right? And having to have them at parties when they couldn't stand them because they were bloody yobs. And the same thing with Ozzy Osbourne when they were going around doing whatever they did in the early 70s, you know. And poor old Sabbath got ripped off. They got, I mean, this black, you know, albums like Black Sabbath Volume 4, brilliant that they are, were made when they were getting ripped off by... The artist is always at the bottom of the pile, but the thing is they won out, didn't they? Ozzy was sat there on his throne with his little face full of really fixed on doing the best he possibly could, mixed with the pain of being in the situation, mixed with the love that he had for the audience in front of him. And that was worth it. Never saw that at Glastonbury. Neil Young just took the money and went home. Rod Stewart tried his hardest, but you know that you have to pay to play Glastonbury. The fees are so small. Glastonbury is so, you know, such a great thing to play that you have to pay to play it, basically. Rod Stewart spent, like, I think about £200,000 to play that gig. So, I think I've got to the end of this one. What's my conclusion? I think we need to rethink copyright. We need to be moving that the internet gives people more creative freedom, not less. We need to have an argument about censorship and people putting stuff that's immorally bad up. And that's a completely different argument. But I don't believe I'm doing that. I'm talking about another specific thing. We don't want the future creative works to just be the past creative works that they now control, and they just throw at us like, you watch this, you listen to this, you don't need anything new, we've got the control now, and we've got it all sanitized, and nobody's ever going to say anything to you that makes a difference, right? And the big thing about Glastonbury that upset me, well, there's many things, those bands that created a thing, you could say, yeah, but Andy, these are new bands and they're pushing the envelope. They're not musically pushing the envelope. They're not moving people. They were saying contentious things that would deliberately split us down the middle, because those things have been designed to split us down the middle. Now, Glastonbury and the BBC only benefited financially from that row. Think about that. Right? Glastonbury did it. They made their millions. And once it was over, they then control all of that. Everybody's making some money out of it. And I was there doing my video, right? I had to do my Bob Vylan video. I had to. We all had to, didn't we? Everybody did it. Here, this isn't like that. You know, it's Sunday. I'm tired. I didn't want to do this. I've only come to my studio to pick up a microphone. And on the way, I thought, I'm going to deal with this. Let's sort it out. So my conclusion is copyright needs to be rethought, okay? And I think that unless you are, well, it should be that if you're adding something to, this is what you'll all say. Surely if you add it and you transform it, then you're okay, that's fair use. Fair use is what they want it to be. Because the reason why I got a copyright strike is because someone was there, a whole team was there, ringing up saying, shut that down. And then YouTube went, yes, sir, shut down. That's what happened. Shut that one down now. Yes, sir, shut down. Don't like him. Yes, sir, shut down. They look a bit ugly. Yes, sir, shut down. They said something we didn't like. Think about it. Think about what I'm saying. Is that right? No, it's not right, Andy. But anyway, I don't think it's going to make any difference, you know, because no one's going to be watching this one and going, I think that's got a point. He's got a point. There's nobody there doing that. Maybe that's what it needs. Maybe we need to pay money into a system, us YouTubers. Maybe we opt into a system where there is then an independent panel that you can go to. Because who do I go to? It's not like I've got a job in a company. I'm supposed to be a YouTube partner. But who do I go to now? What's the point? You know, I can go in a little chat site and talk to a robot for a bit. Who do I go to say, I don't think this was fair? Look at the size of the screen. No one could see it was out of focus. I was studying away with it most of the time. You know, so, I mean, I've got a copyright strike. Could you just take the copyright strike away? You know, I don't want any money for it, but I don't want that hanging over my head. You know, can you put the video back up? Because you've got it now. What are they doing with it? They probably watched it themselves going, oh, this is bloody brilliant. This bloke's a genius. Genius. It's the only third time he's ever done a YouTube stream, and he's got it down on this one. First two years, that's so good. We've got it here. You know, shame they can't watch this one when he nailed it. You know what annoyed me? I never got to be there with the people who had stuck with me all day watching Black Sabbath. They'd sat through bloody Tool. They'd sat through all the other bands that had been on. You know, all of them they'd been there for, good and bad. The truth is, I wanted to be there when Sabbath was there. I wanted them to go, oh my God, how did you feel? And I went, oh, great, great, great. Well, what about Axl Rose? You know, I think I was there for Axl Rose. That was about the high point. So I did it anyway. And there I was, all then on my own, 1 o'clock in the morning, falling asleep, trying to do my reaction. And I put that up last night. And that's what's happened. It's not bad, really. You know, nothing's really going to happen to me. I'm going to make sure I keep my nose clean, as they say, for the next few months. And that will be that. But I just thought I'd let you know how I feel. That's how I feel. They're right. You shouldn't use their stuff. It's copyrighted. I understand that. Shouldn't have done it. Where's the mitigating circumstances? Where's the nuance? Where's somebody making a decision? You know, where's the thing we have in our society where people sit down and go, don't worry about it, mate. Yeah, I can understand what you were trying to do. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. You know. Where is that? That's gone, isn't it? Everybody's got to play the Glastonbury game, haven't they? And very few people want to play the back to the beginning game. I want the back to the beginning game. I want to be in the place where the love is, where all the weirdos are. That's what I want. That's what I want. And we all want that. And I've got a bunch of weirdos here, and they're the best ones. My subscribers are all the weird ones, and they were lovely. Don't want any of that bloody YouTube Antifa's lot in again. Bloody now, all right, actually. I'm done now. So, as you can see, this might damage me a little bit, so you should feel sorry for me now. You should be going to my PayPal link, sticking some money in there to make up for all the bloody stress I had last night. May as well not have bothered. You could become a patron and do all that. Listen to me in radio shows, watch me free videos. You can become a free member if you want. And you'll still get to see stuff. I do stuff for free all the time. What else could you do? You could become a member here and all that type of stuff. So support your artists. Support them. If you're poor, support them with your views and with your sharing, right? And actively do that. And that's enough. If you're bloody stinking rich, stick in some money, you stinking rich type, you know, and then you'll spread the love. And that's true socialism, where you do it off your own heart. And that's what we need to do. Let's look after each other. I love you. You love me. We all love each other. Some of you don't like me, but you can all get stuffed. But all the ones that want to spread the love, let's just try get through this time. And the only way is by walking into the light of love, or walking away from the shadow of darkness. And that's counterintuitive sometimes, and it doesn't often reside where you think it does. And Ozzy Osbourne sat there with his bats and his dark and his, you know, oh no, please God help me. All of that looks like the darkness is actually the light of love. Sabbath are the light of love. I have said what I wanted to say now. Got to it. Thank you very much. See you on the next one.